Hey everyone! Today is the last in a mini-series of end-of-the-year videos for 2020. Today's will be all of the films I watched. Hot Summer Nights. An awkward teenager gets in over his head dealing drugs while falling for his business partner's enigmatic sister during one scorching summer in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. I watched this movie on New Year's Eve and to be honest I can't really remember what happened. I think it was okay, but it was one of those films that didn't really have anything that was for me specifically, and so I didn't really care about it. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. After gaining superpowers from a spider bite, Miles Morales protects the city as Spider-Man. Soon, he meets alternate versions of himself and gets embroiled in an epic battle to save the multiverse. I really enjoyed the art style for this film and thought the character designs were really unique and cool to look at. The story was interesting and I loved a lot of the ideas. It didn't feel like the typical superhero movie, which to be honest I'm getting sick of at this point, so it was nice to see something a bit different. I recommend this one. Billy Elliot. The life of 11-year-old Billy Elliot, a coal miner's son in northern England, is forever changed one day when he stumbles upon a ballet class during his weekly boxing lesson. If any of you have seen my top 10 films video, you know this is now my favorite film. The acting, directing, editing, cinematography, mise-en scene and just about everything else in this film was great. I related to a lot of ideas in this film and I thought it was incredibly well made for the budget and the fact that some of the cast weren't actors. 100% recommend as something unique, touching and technically great. Kingsman: The Secret Service. Gary Eggsy Unwin faces several challenges when he gets recruited as a secret agent in a secret spy organization in order to look for Richmond Valentine, an eco-terrorist. This movie was pretty cool and I thought the acting was good. If you're a fan of the spy genre, I would definitely check this one out, but for me it wasn't anything special. Shutter Island. Teddy Daniels and Chuck All, two U.S. Marshals, are sent to an asylum on a remote island in order to investigate the disappearance of a patient, where Teddy uncovers a shocking truth about the place. I thought this film was so good and is another that made it onto my top 10 list back in June. The mystery and tension throughout is done so well and the symbolism and intricate foreshadowing is so brilliant. It's one of those films you want to watch again as soon as it's over. I think everyone who likes films needs to see this. Ladybird. Christine Lady Bird McPherson, a teenage girl, faces a lot of ups and downs in her relationships during her senior year in high school. I think this film was interesting and well made and I know a lot of people love it, but for me personally I didn't really care about it or relate to much of the story or characters. Just personal preference. But I didn't enjoy this one, although I do think the acting was good. The Chum Scrubber. Dean Stifel finds the body of his friend and small-time supplier of narcotics, Troy. Dean conceals his death, and in doing so, Troy's supply chain soon dries up. Local drug dealers at the school run kidnap Dean's brother, threatening to kill him unless he finds Troy's stash, but they've grabbed the wrong kid. A really weird film. I think it was interesting and unique and really well executed in my opinion. I liked the characters and the acting was pretty good, especially from Jamie Bell in the lead role. It explored some really interesting ideas and although the struggles weren't all things I related to personally, I still was interested throughout. A Million Little Pieces. A young drug-addled man approaching the bottom of his descent submits to 2 months of agonizing detox at a treatment center in Minnesota. I watched this film just after I made my top 10 list, otherwise it definitely would have been on there. The story is done so well, the acting, directing, cinematography were all brilliantly done and there were some really interesting ideas explored. Definitely recommend. Skin. A young man makes the dangerous choice to leave the white supremacist gang he joined as a teenager. With his former friends against him, he is determined to create a new life for himself if he can make it out alive. A hard film to watch as it tackles some challenging but important issues. I thought it was worth the watch and well done but not easy as the main character is part of a racist group and although the film itself is not racist and counters those ideas, it's still weird to watch a film from that perspective. I think it's worth the watch though. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. In order to escape the prison labor, McMurphy, a prisoner, fakes insanity and is shifted to the special ward for the mentally unstable. In this ward, he must rise up against a cruel nurse, Ragy. Obviously this film is a classic and massively critically acclaimed. I thought it was brilliantly done and I really enjoyed the story and performances. Another one that all film fans need to see. Fight Club. Discontented with his capitalistic lifestyle, a white-collared insomniac forms an underground fight club with Tyler, a careless soap salesman. The project soon spirals down into something sinister. I personally enjoyed the film and thought it was really interesting. I know it can be criticized but I didn't really see it from that point of view and I thought the film was really well made and the characters in particular were done really well. Another pretty iconic film that most people will want to watch at some point. Albert Nobbs. Albert Nobbs works in a posh hotel and struggles to lead an independent life in Ireland. He meets a handsome painter who comes to know of his real identity that he's been hiding. Personally, I didn't enjoy this film. It was done in a weird way and the acting made me uncomfortable at times. The story was okay but overall I didn't enjoy this and although I know everyone has different opinions and some people could love it, I don't think it's worth the watch. Song for a Ragy Boy. In 1939 Ireland a new teacher clashes with a disciplinarian at a Roman Catholic reform school for boys. It is based on the book of the same name by Patrick Galvin, which is based on true events. This is such a hard-hitting film that I think was done very well. I can't imagine anyone could watch this and not feel for the characters and the situation. Huge trigger warning for abuse. I would probably look up more information if you're affected by issues like that. The characters are so real and hateable and heartbreaking and the story is very well paced. I also think the mise-en scene was incredible and made the film feel a lot more real. Overall I think the film was really well done but a very hard watch. This Boy's Life. In the 1950s, Toby and his mom, Caroline, moved to the state of Washington. There they meet mild-mannered Dwight, who falls in love with Caroline. They are married, and, after some initial happiness in the household, it becomes apparent that Dwight believes violence is the best way to discipline his troubled stepson. A lot of people love this film. I think it was very well acted and the direction and mise-en scene was well done, but for some reason I just didn't click with it and didn't particularly enjoy it. I still think others could love it though, so it's worth watching if you think you'll like it. 8 Mile. Jimmy B. Rabbit Smith is an aspiring rapper with a messed up life. He must use his rap skills to succeed in a rapping contest as this could be his last chance to get out of the ghetto. Most of you will know this as Eminem's film and I think when you're going into it that's the main appeal the film has but I think it can also stand on its own as a good film that explores interesting topics and has some great music in it. The acting is pretty good from everyone and the storyline is interesting. I recommend trying it out if you haven't already. American Heist. Within 24 hours of being released from a 10-year sentence, Frankie threatens to drag his brother James back into the criminal underworld that nearly swallowed them both years before. This film was not something I would usually watch, but I thought it was pretty interesting and well made. The acting and directing were both good and I enjoyed the storyline for the most part. If you enjoy this genre, I would definitely recommend checking it out. Life as a house. When George is fired from his job as an architectural model fabricator, he fulfills his dream of rebuilding his house. His son Sam reluctantly spends the summer with him to help. I thought this film was really well done and felt very honest for some reason. I don't know what it is, maybe some combination of the great cast, the interesting storyline and how well put together it is, but I really enjoyed this film and recommend it. Shattered Glass. When young writer Stephen Glass begins turning in outrageous stories, his popularity skyrockets, but rival journalist Charles Lane becomes suspicious as to their factual accuracy. Not my favorite but not bad either, some interesting ideas and characters. If you are interested in the world of journalism, you will probably find this very interesting. The Secret Garden 1993. A young British girl is orphaned by an earthquake in India and is sent back to England to live in her uncle's castle. Soon, she discovers a beautiful garden on the property and explores its secrets. I think I have seen this film before, but I still included it because I couldn't really remember. I really like this film, it's a children's classic and so realistically whimsical. I think it's a great children's movie that you can continue to enjoy as you grow up, and I personally really enjoy it. Sunrise, a Song of Two Humans. A man, bored of his wife and life on his farm, plans to leave his wife and run off with a modern city woman, but can a day with his wife change his mind? I tend not to enjoy silent movies for some reason, so I'm not a huge fan of Sunrise, but I still think it was an incredible feat to have been made almost 100 years ago, and all of the technical elements are outstanding. If you are a film fan or study film, it's a must-watch from the classics, and if you like silent films, I think you would really enjoy this one as well. Mid-90s. In 1990s Los Angeles, a 13-year-old spends his summer navigating between a troubled home life and a crew of new friends he meets at a skate shop. I really liked this film. I think the characters and pacing were very well done and the storyline was interesting. The ending did feel very abrupt, as if they just ran out of time, but I can see why they ended it that way. I recommend. Treasure Planet. A restless teen journeys across the universe as a cabin boy aboard a spaceship. Later, he discovers that a trusted friend is actually a scheming pirate with mutiny on his mind. A really fun children's sword and planet adventure film that adults can 100% enjoy too. Beautifully designed, the art style is so clever and unique. The characters are very interesting and sympathetic, and the worlds are really cool too. A must-watch for Disney fans. KickAss. Comic book geek Dave sets out to become KickAss, a real-life superhero. Big Daddy and Hit Girl attempt to dismantle the underworld empire of mob boss Frank D'Amico, when KickAss gets involved. I thought this film was pretty cool and another new look at the oversaturated superhero genre. I liked the characters and the acting, though there were some weird choices and parts of the story that I didn't particularly like. I did start the second movie, but it looked awful, playing off things in the first movie that didn't work, losing what was great about the characters and over-sexualizing every female on screen. Some people could like it, but I didn't. The first one was okay though. Since I made this video in November, I'll watch more films before the end of the year, but if I wait too long I won't get these videos out in time, so I will just add the films I saw in November and December in the description or in a pinned comment. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment your favorite film of the year. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see all my other content. Bye.